define to me what the new organization is.
The new organization, I think, and depends on how far out we look, but I think what we're seeing is the core is getting a lot smaller of regular full-times. We're going to have an expansion of independents that are creating value within the enterprise. The future organization has people in it who have multiple jobs and not just working for one person. I think we're going to, we've seen this for the last few decades of flattening of organizations. And and there's a few ways this can play out, and every industry is going to have different iterations. So there isn't a one size fit all. And if anyone would ever answer that question, here's how it's going to be, don't believe them. What I would say is some of the cool things I'm seeing is gig inside the enterprise. So you work for a company, and this is already how 3M, a very successful American company and very creative one, by the way, W.L. Gordon Associates, who makes Gore-Tex, they have project-based systems where you bid on the work that you want to do. And if you don't get good reviews on your work, guess what? You're probably not going to get chosen to work on future projects. And similarly for managers, if you're not a good manager, people are not going to bid on your project. So I think we're going to see a little bit more of that. I think we're going to continue to see people stay less and less in organizations. And the bigger organizations have an opportunity now, and whether they take advantage of it or not, I don't know, but it's going to determine whether people stay longer, which is what talent really wants today, is to be vital and valuable for tomorrow. And if you have a big organization and you're not moving people actively, I think they're going to feel that being stationary is making them vulnerable. So big companies have a huge portfolio of different offices, different regions, different departments. You can move people around. And I think one of the things that, and I talk about this in my book, that I just find phenomenally befuddling is this very simple thing. If you believe talent is how you create value, if you believe it's the most important reason that you exist, shouldn't every employee know how qualified they are for every job in your company? And shouldn't you know what skills they need for every? Shouldn't we all go start a job in a firm and have a dashboard, a visual graph of what percentage we're qualified for every single job in the company? Does one business exist today where that's the case? No, it's an easy one. Why don't we do that? Well, in the first few years at Google, when I was at LinkedIn, Google came to us and said, hey, would you build an internal directory for our employees? And we'll give you millions of dollars. And our salesmen were like drooling. It was our first multi-million-dollar sales deal. Like, yeah, of course we'll build you a directory. And Google said, because our employees have given you more information about themselves than they've given us. So can we just buy it from you? Wow. And it was a moment of truth for us as a business, because the chairman and founder, Reid Hoffman, was like, hell no, we're not doing that. And the salespeople were like, what? It's millions of dollars. I'm going to make my number, and it's only like month number 3. Right. And he says, our deal with the members who are free, they give us their data. In exchange, we respect that. We will never get to anyone unless they give us permission. So if you want to put it in the deal, we'll give it to Google if every Google employee gives permission for us to give it to them. And the salespeople are like, yeah, that's not going to happen. Like, exactly. So we're not doing that deal. But that notion of, why don't we know more about our own people if we really care about it? Because we don't really care about it. That's probably, I mean, that's the harsh truth. Like, you're saying this is really fucking it up. They don't really care. So I begin a lot of my sessions, and I love doing this with non-human resource leaders, to say, okay, how does value get created in your organization? They say, well, people. I said, okay, so does it stand to reason then that the best performing systems in your company, the ones you spent the most money on, are the people systems? And they're like, no. I said, you paid more for your accounting system. Is that right? That's right. You paid more for your sales tracking system. That's right. Why? Doesn't make any sense. And philosophically, they're never going to disagree with me, but I don't think I've changed any behavior. They're just like, yeah, why don't we? Oh, because there's no really good people. No, there are. Why aren't you doing that? Why is it the last thing you talk about in a staff meeting? Oh, we'll get to the people last. Why? Why not first?
I got to tell you, as a training and development company, we've seen that firsthand on a business side. So one of the first things businesses cut is training and coaching, right? When they need to, when the pandemic hit,
yeah,
I was shocked. I was literally like, I'm like, are you kidding me? Now is the time to double down. In fact, if you were going to spend X with us this year, you should spend double of that, because what's going to get us through this is our people. And then what we did early days in the pandemic was we said, okay, here's our offer and our commitment. First, we believe in this development so much and people development. If you as an organization have lost revenue and do not have your budgets, you can still send people at no charge, right? We're going to do the honor system with you guys. And if you can pay for it, pay for it. But that's what we did. And we did it early in the pandemic. And you know, it was very interesting to see the difference between organizations that said, look, we just really can't afford it, but we'll take you up on your offer. And the ones that said, okay, you know what, we'll pay. And I got to tell you, there was a percentage of people, organizations that did nothing. And to your point, it's why should people come last? It should be something that we put forward first.